Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of live coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of live coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. You're listening to the Think Unbroken podcast, and I'm your host, Michael Unbroken. I'm an author, speaker, coach, and advocate for adult survivors of childhood trauma and abuse. In this podcast, you will learn how to transform your trauma into triumph, turn breakdowns into breakthroughs, and go from victim to being the hero of your own story. You can learn more at thinkunbrokenpodcast.com, and of course, check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at Think Unbroken Podcast. I get frequently asked, what is my daily routine? And, one of the things I think is most important for trauma survivors and people who have been through traumatic experiences is creating some routine. And the reason why is because when you look at the research and you understand that our bodies will often default to the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight, from the moment we wake up, having a routine is incredibly important because it's going to help you control and facilitate your nervous system, the flow of your day, and most importantly, what you're able to do or accomplish in any given day. And so I'm going to hit you with all of the things I do quickly, and then I'm going to break them all down a little bit more in depth. So number one is I do not have an alarm. Number two is I drink water as soon as I get out of bed. Number three is I stretch. Number four is that I have breakfast and coffee. Number five is I journal. Number six, I read. Number seven, I meditate. And then depending on the day, number eight, I'm either working out or I start working. And so we're going to go into each one of these bit by bit because I want to break this down so you can have a full understanding of why I operate this way and why I think it's beneficial for people who have come through traumatic experiences to consider adopting a routine like this. Now, what I will say is sometimes the routine will change. It's not always going to be to the T, but for the most part it is. And this is something I've adapted now over the course of the last probably 9 to 10 years. I used to have no routine other than wake up and smoke a cigarette. So let me tell you that this is a very different lifestyle than what it used to be. So first and foremost, let's jump into number one, which is no alarm. It hit me a few years ago that when my alarm would go off in the morning, it would throw me right into my sympathetic nervous system, right into fight or flight, right into that place where I'm going crazy. I do not have an alarm in the morning, and people always go, well, how do you get up? And I go, well, I have trained my body to wake up at the same time every single day, like clockwork. This has only been something I've been able to accomplish through a lot of training. And at the beginning, I had an alarm, and I do still have like an emergency backup alarm. So if it gets to a certain time, I'm like, okay, the alarm has woken me up. But generally, most days, I'm actually awake by the time this alarm goes off. Number two is I drink water immediately. We all know that you dehydrate throughout the course of the evening, especially if it's hot or you're under hot blankets, or for whatever myriad of reasons that you do dehydrate throughout the night. So as soon as I get out of bed, I walk to the kitchen and I have some water, and depending on how I feel, I might toss some electrolytes in there as well. I make sure that my electrolytes have no sugar, that they do not have any cyanocobalamin, that they are as clean as humanly possible. Do your research, find what works for you. Don't start your day. I would warn you against starting your day with anything with sugars or high fructose corn syrups. Those things do not do well with your body. And there's a lot of research, especially around things like aspartame and how that leads to anxiety. So just be cautious if you do electrolytes, but most importantly, drink water. If you only drink water, toss in a little bit of pink salt. That will help you get the electrolytes you need in your body even more. Number three is I stretch. So no alarm, into the water, and I start stretching. And stretching for me is just moving my body. One of the things is every single day, I know that I have to get into my body, I have to get out of my brain and into my body, and I have to get connected to myself and to the earth. And so depending on the day, a lot of times I will just step outside. I'll put my feet in the grass for maybe 1 minute, and I'll come back in. I'll stretch my arms and my legs and just breathe and kind of get connected with myself. This is so important. And then recently, so historically, number four, before we dive in, number four is breakfast and coffee. So recently, I stopped intermittent fasting. I did this for probably a decade, where I would not eat anything until what would be a normal lunchtime. There's a lot of research around longevity against that, but there's also a lot of research starting to come out now about if you can give yourself a nourishing, healthy breakfast in the morning within the first hour that you wake up, that it actually lowers anxiety. And so I heard this on a podcast with Dr. Jordan Peterson. I did some research on it, and I actually changed. I think it was the week later, because I was still trying to wrap my head around it. For about 3 months now, I've been eating breakfast. And I'm telling you right now, there is a massive noticeable difference in my life. Like, it's unbelievable. I don't even really know how to convey it. I feel more focused, more alert, more aware. My anxiety is lower. So this may work for you, it may not. And then, of course, with breakfast, I have coffee, and I do bulletproof coffee. Look up Dave Asprey. You can look up bulletproof coffee. I don't actually use bulletproof coffee. I use a myotoxin-free coffee. It's called Clean Coffee. I get this on Amazon. No affiliate links or anything, obviously, guys. I'm just telling you what I do. I throw in some chocolate collagen powder and some butter. Yes, cow dairy butter. And that is how I make my coffee, with some almond milk every single morning. And that's how I get started in my day. And at the same time that I eat breakfast, I have coffee. I take my vitamins. So I have a special vitamin supplementation that is based on my blood work and my DNA specifically. There are a lot of places you can go out and get this information and this data. But when I started taking a protocol that was built around me, and not just stuff that I thought I needed to take because I heard it on a podcast, or I walked by it in the store and I was like, oh, I should take that thing. When I got this formulation specifically for me, it changed so much about my life. Number five is I journal, and I journal every single day, almost without fail. Whether it's a handwritten journal or I do a voice note journal in an app called Otter, Otter. I'm always journaling in the morning. I'm just taking out the chaos of thoughts in my head. I'm getting them down on a piece of paper, and I'm looking at them in this way where I'm trying to just extrapolate where I'm at that day, because every single day is different. Just the other day, I woke up and I could not have woken up in a worse mood. Like, it was just one of those days you wake up and you're like, ah. And so, going through this routine, but especially hitting that journal, I was able to get down into, I was like, why am I upset? We'll be right back to the show. But before we do, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, factormeals.com, where if you go to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50, you can get 50% off your first order. That's factormeals.com/unbroken50. If you're like me and you are a person who is busy trying to create a life, heal, work on their health, wealth, and relationships, and not to mention deal with the day-to-days of normal life, you do not have time to be going to the grocery store and trying to figure out what you're going to cook every single day of the week. In fact, one time I did the math and I realized I was spending over 15 hours a week at the grocery store and cooking. When I added factor, I got to use that time for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my community, and for my business. And so if you're in the place where you need some more support in the kitchen, head to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50 to get 50% off. Set today? Like, why do I feel this way? So I was writing and writing and writing, ultimately came to a conclusion. So journaling in the morning for me is a practice that, I mean, it probably takes me about 10 to 15 minutes. Is probably one of the longer things that I do every single morning. And then what will happen is it just helps me throughout navigating the flow of the day. So if you're not journaling, I highly recommend it. It's a game changer. I do all with my clients. We're always journaling. It's a huge part of the healing journey. Number 6 is that I read. I read every single morning, no matter what. I do not miss reading. And reading for me is like 15 to 20 minutes. Now, depending on the book, sometimes it's just like a chapter, sometimes it's 2 chapters. And what I'm trying to do is put powerful information into my brain as soon as I wake up. And when I have the cognitive function to actually like make meaning of what it is that I'm consuming, because the thing that I've understood is that reading for me has become the greatest teacher. Now, obviously, doing will teach you more, but I get to learn from Marcus Aurelius, and I get to learn from Robert Frost, and I get to learn from many of the people who've even been on this podcast, many of whom have books. And so when I consume that information, it's just helping me set up, it's planting seeds, right? And sometimes, and a lot of times, really, it is taking into action the thing that I've read that day. So especially if I'm reading like a business book, I'll try to operate that immediately into my day. Reading, I think that one of the things is important is that that is a space for me in the morning where I have not yet been consumed in the day of whether it's working or podcasting or coaching or working on the next big project. And so that to me has always been kind of my safe haven. Number 7 is I meditate. So meditation for, and this is just for me, is a short period of my day where generally it's 7 to 10 minutes. It's one of those things that I do it because it again, like these other parts of the routine, it helps me center, helps me control my nervous system, helps me make meaning of things that are happening in my life. Sometimes I do this process of problem solving in a meditation. Like if there's something I'm looking at and it's really bothersome, or I'm not feeling connected to something, or I'm missing something, like, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And other times it's just I'm sitting and I'm letting whatever comes come while controlling and focusing on my breathing. This has been one of the cornerstones of everything that I've been able to do in my life. There's no question that if you do not meditate, you are missing a huge opportunity. Most people will look at meditation and they will say, well, why should I meditate? Like, why would I want to do that? That doesn't help me, so on and so forth. Look, I get it. Just try it. Give it a month. Go through. You could go listen to the episode I did with Vishen Lakhiani and his guide to meditation here on Think Unbroken podcast, where he kind of breaks down those step by steps and the reason why meditation is so incredibly important. Personally, one of my favorite conversations on the show. And then last but not least, number 8 is, and this depends on the flow of the day. So I want to give you time context. Steps 1 through 7, and really 1 being at 0, which is the alarm, so no alarm, drink water, stretch, breakfast and coffee, journal, read, meditate. So those things all happen within the course of less than 1 hour. And most days it's about 45 minutes. So much of this is about routine and habit, like building in the aspects of your day that you just go autonomically through them, and you just go hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And look, and if it's a day where like I really do not want to read or I don't have time, I won't. Right. And so one of the things I think is really important is like, don't be so dogmatic, because you're going to have different days. But number 8, which I will argue is the most important, is workout or start working. Now, this depends on the day. So on days where I have martial arts, I typically go in the evening. I've been doing that for a very long time. That will happen. And then I'll just start working in the morning. If it's a day where I'm not going to martial arts, then like this morning, I'm going to immediately go to a workout. So I'm actually going to go hit the gym. I'm going to run. I'm going to lift, just anything to get my body moving, to build strength, to build muscle mass, dexterity, stamina. And when you look at the research around physical activity and depression and anxiety, there is no pill, there is nothing on planet Earth that's going to bring you more value for your mental health than working out. This is the number one thing I can stress to anyone. So working out is a huge part of my life. 6 days a week, I work out, not always with massive intensity. I don't think that's necessary. It's just about getting the heart rate up, getting the blood pumping, getting a little sweat going, because our bodies were meant to move. And for the most part, we do not move enough. And so if you're in this place and you're starting this journey and you're trying to figure out a routine, I'm not saying that my routine is the right routine, but I am telling you that this is the routine that I go through. This is the routine that brings me the most value in my life. And this is the routine that ultimately is the cornerstone to a lot of the reasons I've been able to have success in my life. And I tell clients this all the time: control your calendar, control your morning, and you'll control your life. Now, I'm going to say something because I think it's really important. I always get the pushback on this: well, I don't have time. And I would argue that perhaps you just don't want to get up early enough to give yourself the time that you need. Look, there's always a reason to find an excuse, but I promise you, I will help you find the solution. So if you're like, I don't really get this, I'm trying to find the space, I'm confused, DM me on Instagram at Michael Unbroken. Shoot me an email, michael@thinkunbroken.com. I'm more than happy to help you find the solution. There's always a way, my friend. And this routine, I'm telling you right now, you do this, it will change your life forever. All right, my friends, I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please leave a comment or review if you're watching here on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please hit a review, hit that 5-star rating, share this with a friend, because when you do, you help us move closer to ending generational trauma. And until next time, my friend, be unbroken. I'll see you. Thank you so much for listening to Think Unbroken. Please share this episode with someone who could use it and help us move forward in our mission of ending generational trauma in our lifetime. And if you would, please take 5 seconds to pop on iTunes or Spotify, hit that 5-star, leave a review, and you can also reach out to us on social at Michael Unbroken or at Think Unbroken. And of course, you can check out our YouTube channel at Think Unbroken. Thank you for being a part of Unbroken Nation, my friends, and until next time, be unbroken. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show, but I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of live coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program.